$350,000 just to leave Dubai immediately. Not a business class ticket, but an escape route. While many people still dream of Dubai, the super rich are quietly leaving one flight at a time. This is not tourism, but a silent wave of migration sweeping through Dubai and Saudi Arabia, turning these power centers into stifling golden cages. Thousands of workers are stuck in the 50-degree heat, while the sky reverberates with the sound of private jets fleeing. What is really happening behind the velvet curtains? Why did everything get so bad so quickly that the tycoons had to flee? We will uncover the harsh truth that is shaking the entire Middle East right after this. Looking at the aviation data at Al Maktoum or Riyadh airports, you will see an astonishing anomaly. The demand for private jet rentals has skyrocketed to unprecedented levels, with the price for a single flight sometimes reaching up to $350,000. Most of the renters are CEOs, billionaires, and ultra-wealthy families, all of whom are looking for ways to leave as quickly as possible. They are willing to pay 2, even 3 times the usual price just to secure a spot to leave overnight. Even when the flight routes are congested, one can see long lines of luxury SUVs trailing each other for 10 hours across the desert, just to travel from the economic zones toward Riyadh or the international airports. This is no longer luxury travel. This is an exodus. Private jet brokerage companies say their phones are ringing off the hook, not for vacation trips, but for urgent requests to relocate entire families and their assets. Suitcases filled with important documents and gold are being loaded into first-class cabins, leaving behind the million-dollar villas that are gradually cooling down. But the noteworthy thing is, they are not surprised at all. It seems that the super-rich had already sensed a huge crack in the foundation of this paradise before we even realized it. We often mistakenly think that panic is a blind state, where people jostle to find an escape. But in the world of gold-plated penthouses, panic takes on a completely different form. It is extremely calm and calculated. The people loading suitcases onto the private jet right now are not the ones trembling. They are the architects of the retreat. While the crowd of tourists is still busy checking in by the infinity pools overlooking the Persian Gulf, the elite have quietly activated the escape plan that they have painstakingly built over many years. Have you ever wondered why a billionaire needs 5 different passports? Or why do they splurge on mansions always in a ready-to-host state in the suburbs of London, penthouses in Singapore, or secluded farms in the French countryside? It's not just a simple hobby of collecting real estate, it's actually a lifeline. An anonymous comment on a financial forum said this: "The ultra-rich always know when the party is about to end, before the lights even come on." That's not a hobby of collecting luxury real estate. Those are lifeboats anchored across the oceans. For them, real estate is just safe coordinates distributed to minimize risk. An anonymous comment on a financial forum revealed this truth. The ultra-rich always know when the party is about to end, even before the last glasses of champagne are finished. They possess the keenest noses to sniff out the acrid smell from changes in tax policies, purges of covert power under the guise of legality, and the geopolitical undercurrents brewing far offshore. This game was already rigged, and just as darkness descended, the poor were stuck with piles of debt and the heat, while the rich simply changed their coordinates on the flight map. But what has truly pushed them to their breaking point? Has the tax-free paradise really run out of magic? For this class, Dubai or Riyadh has never been home. They are merely financial pit stops, places where they stop to optimize cash flow, exploit tax loopholes, and then disappear as soon as the numbers start showing signs of red. The game is rigged. When the darkness truly descends, the poor will be stuck with credit card debts and the melting heat of the desert. And the rich? They simply perform a light operation on the flight map, changing the coordinates. If this paradise collapses, they will fly to another paradise where the magic is still in effect. But what really pushed them to the breaking point? Could it be that the tax-free oasis has truly run out of magic all this time? Before we uncover the cracks that are making the tycoons tremble, if you find these hidden aspects interesting, don't forget to subscribe. Let's delve into the truths that mainstream media always chooses to ignore. Dubai, with its promise of stability and safety, has made the elite and millions of tourists from around the world trust and visit. People say Dubai is like a miracle, but in reality, it's a calculation. Look at the artificial islands shaped like palm leaves or the towers piercing through the clouds. They look eternal, don't they? However, Dubai is actually a wonder of human will against nature, and nature has never lost. The ultra-rich are fleeing not necessarily because they fear political upheaval. They are fleeing because they realize they are living in a luxurious glass box placed in the middle of a furnace. Dubai did not collapse due to any confrontation. It collapsed because it was never truly sustainable. A city rises in the middle of the desert. No rivers, no arable land, nothing but money. You see the glass skyscrapers, luxurious, magnificent. But perhaps you've never seen the water pipes running beneath the surface. You see the artificial beaches, but you don't see the millions of tons of sand that have to be transported to keep them existing. A true artificial city, an oasis sustained by the breath of machines. Every drop of water you drink, every air conditioner running 24/7, all depend on gigantic desalination plants and endless energy sources. Food? 90% is imported goods. Dubai is not just a city, it is a machine. And what's the problem with the machine? Just a small disruption in the global supply chain, or a logistics incident at the Strait of Hormuz, and this paradise will revert to its original state, a harsh desert. The contrast here is truly ironic. Inside the gilded penthouses, people discuss the future of humanity, but just stepping out onto the balcony, the desert dust is ready to swallow everything. Dubai is like the latest iPhone. Sleek, expensive, but with a very short battery life and always needing to be plugged into the world's supply. When the capital flows in, the charger works well. But when the billionaires start pulling the plug, the system begins to overheat. The elite understand that they cannot eat gold or drink oil when the cargo ships stop docking. They are selling their dreams of glass and steel in exchange for true safety in places with land and natural water sources. Have you ever wondered how long a city built on sand can stand when the financial winds change? Don't forget to leave your opinion in the comments section. We would love to know what you think about this trade-off. And here's why things could get much worse. And then, the first cracks began to show. Not on the glass towers, but in the very way this city operates. Imagine Dubai as a space station on Earth. It is magnificent, high-tech, but completely dependent on oxygen pipelines from Earth. In the world of the ultra-rich, that pipeline is logistics. But what happens when that pipeline starts to leak? Recently, reports of temporary airspace closures or disruptions at major air transit hubs are not just about delays. Those are the first cracks on the glass surface. In a place where everything has to be transported, from Wagyu steak, pure water sources to replacement parts for the massive air conditioning system, even a small delay can trigger a major exodus. To put it bluntly, when logistics stop, everything stops. The tycoons are not afraid of running out of money. They are afraid of a lack of operation. You can't live in a $50 million penthouse if the central air conditioning system stops working due to a lack of an imported chip in the heat that could fry an egg on the sidewalk. You cannot maintain a financial empire when flights carrying experts and documents are delayed by geopolitical instability surrounding the airspace. The contrast here is harsh. The skyscrapers rise proudly, yet their existence is as fragile as ever in the face of global supply chain disruptions. On one side is the utmost luxury. On the other is absolute dependence. You cannot live in a city where everything has to be brought from elsewhere. when no one brings anything anymore. This is when the survival instinct of money speaks up. Billionaires understand that, in a world that is fracturing, power does not lie in the balance of an account at a desert bank, but in the ability to access real resources. When the private jets start taking off in droves, it's not just the movement of people, but the evacuation of trust in the system. If it were you, would you choose to stay and bet on the sustainability of this artificial oasis? Or would you be the next one to book a seat on the earliest flight? Please share your perspective below. And if you want to continue exploring the stark truths behind the glamour, don't forget to hit like to support us. The system is showing signs of cracking, and the question is no longer whether it will collapse, but who will be the last one left behind. In the same city, under the same scorching sun of the Gulf region, two parallel realities exist that never intersect. On the gleaming runways of private airports, the script of privilege unfolds perfectly. The powerful CEOs, who just yesterday were deciding the fate of mega projects, now quickly step into the cabin wrapped in handcrafted leather, smelling of money. Following them are their beloved dogs, served a special menu on silver trays. For the ultra-rich, this world has no borders, no geopolitical barriers. It is simply a list of destinations, a six-figure check, a quick phone call, and within hours, they had purchased safety, fleeing the overheating golden cage to return to cool mansions in Europe. But if you take your eyes off those glamorous planes and look into the darkness behind the billion-dollar skyscrapers, you will see another reality. The labor camps, the closed labor camps. This is where thousands of people from South Asia and Southeast Asia are being imprisoned by their own dreams. For them, Dubai or Saudi Arabia is not an investment portfolio, but a final gamble for survival. When the bosses leave on private jets, what they leave behind is not just unfinished construction sites. They leave behind unpaid wages, empty promises, and confiscated passports, a chain that keeps workers shackled in the 50-degree heat. This contrast does not lie in the numbers in the bank account. It lies in the value of a life. A comment on social media posed a question that left anyone with a conscience speechless. What about the poor? Who will open the cage door for them? While the luxurious private jets carry priceless art collections, in the working-class neighborhoods, one encounters a more heartbreaking scene. Dogs and cats abandoned and wandering the streets. Their owners, the middle-class workers, fled in despair. But they couldn't afford the $5,000 for a pet transport on the evacuation flight. That is the stark truth of cities built with money. When the flow of money dries up, kindness also vanishes. The rich migrate to preserve their wealth. The poor stay behind to preserve their lives. One side looks down from the airplane window, seeing the desert gradually shrinking into a harmless dot. One side looks up, seeing the sky cut through by the white smoke trails of the departed, leaving behind a searing heat and a future as hazy as a sandstorm. The lavish party has ended, the lights are out, and the lowly servants are paying a steep price for the bills of the guests who left long ago through the back door. Does justice exist in a place where everything from honor to life has a price tag in dollars, except for an escape for the weak? How do you feel witnessing this brutal division? Are we building cities of the future just to serve those who can abandon them at the first sign of trouble? Leave your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because in a global economy rife with injustice, understanding the truth is the first step to not being left behind. If you think that the recent mass evacuation flights were the climax of the movie, then perhaps you have underestimated the coldness of reality. In the world of colossal numbers, silence is often more terrifying than the sound of jet engines. What you are seeing might just be the beginning of a darker chapter. Many people mistakenly think this is just a temporary crisis, a minor stumble of the oil giants. But the truth is, the geopolitical cracks are spreading faster than the ability of billionaire wallets to fill them. The Gulf conflicts have never truly come to an end. They are just smoldering, waiting for an economic wind to ignite them into a wildfire. The tycoons are not just fleeing because of what is happening today. They are fleeing because of what will happen tomorrow. Instability is no longer a distant specter. It has become a part of the superstructure. Each private jet leaving the Riyadh runway not only carries a family, but also the last remaining belief in a fabricated stability. When a system is built on extreme wealth, but lacks the foundation of true peace, it is like a crystal castle perched on the mouth of a volcano. Just a small tremor, and everything will shatter. And the forecast for the coming months? There will be more people leaving. There will be more villas abandoned. While governments try to reassure public opinion with beautiful growth figures on paper, the flow of black gold is quietly changing direction. The richest people in the world are betting on a worse scenario, where the power of oil is no longer enough to buy peace. Look at the empty flight paths of tomorrow to see the future of today. This is not a mere migration. This is a restructuring of the global power map. Can Dubai and Saudi Arabia turn the tide when the most important pieces have left the board? Or are we witnessing the slow collapse of an empire built on sand? If you are still following along at this moment, perhaps you also realize that this game is much bigger than just a few luxury flights. Don't forget to subscribe so we can closely follow the next developments, because this story still has twists you can't imagine. The darkness does not descend in an instant. It gradually overwhelmed until no one had time to light a lamp. We often look at towering stacks of money and think that they are an impregnable fortress, that if you have enough zeros in your account, you can buy immunity from any disaster. But what is happening at the private runways of Dubai and Riyadh has proven a much harsher truth. Wealth is not a shield, it's just a booster. When the cracks in the system begin to show, money cannot stop the sinking ship. It also cannot soothe the heat of a desert reclaiming its territory, nor can it stop the geopolitical tsunamis crashing onto the shore. What the billionaires are doing with those expensive private jets is not actually solving the problem. They are simply buying time. Money cannot prevent a crisis. It only buys you an escape sooner than others. Look at this final contrast. On one side are the dazzling skyscrapers, symbols of humanity's absolute power over nature. On one side are the hurried figures stepping onto the private jet, leaving behind those very symbols in the wake of the engine smoke. That is a deep irony. The ones who built this paradise were the first to realize that it was no longer a safe place to stay. In an ideal world, prosperity goes hand in hand with sustainability. But here, prosperity is just a perishable item. When a system begins to collapse, the difference between a billionaire and an ordinary worker is not who is in danger. Both are on the same increasingly warming planet and in the same unstable region. The only difference is who has the ability to leave before the fire reaches their feet. Money, in the final moment, is just a priority ticket on a limited lifeboat. So, what is the lesson here? Perhaps we need to start questioning the definition of success. Is it owning a mansion in a place where you always have to be ready to flee by plane? Or is it about building a community where you truly want to stay, even when difficulties arise? Before this screen closes, I want you to ask yourself, if tomorrow your paradise starts to crack, will you be the one with a ticket to leave? Or will you be the one stuck picking up the pieces of a dream that isn't yours? Leave a comment below, because real conversations often begin when the spotlight is dimmed, the party is over, and the wealthiest guests left through the back door. And perhaps the most important question is not what Dubai will be like. But if you were in that situation, what would you do? You will stay and hope everything stabilizes again? Or will you also find a way to leave before it's too late? Because in every crisis, the difference does not lie in who is in danger, but rather in who has the power to choose. Some people can leave immediately. Some others don't even have a chance to try. So what do you think? Is this just a temporary instability? Or is it a sign of something bigger, gradually revealing itself? Leave your thoughts in the comments section. I would love to hear your perspective, especially if you live, work, or have ever visited this area. And if you're interested in stories about how the world really operates behind the scenes, consider subscribing to the channel, because every video here is not just news, but rather what is happening beneath the surface. Finally, it should be clarified. This video is compiled from various public sources and personal analytical perspectives. The actual situation can change very quickly, and it should not be considered financial or immigration advice. Always verify information and make decisions based on your own circumstances. And now, the story is not over yet.